Today we're back on the Stories About Kevin subreddit and I'm so excited. Gonna read some more stories of people doing stuff that's incredibly stupid, and as it always is, I'm sure it's gonna be super fun. Enjoy, guys. I think my dad's a Kevin, so here's my top 6 things that he's done. To preface this, my dad is in his late 40s and is a genuinely intelligent man with shockingly little common sense. How he's made it this long, I'm not sure. He broke his leg climbing a helter-skelter. He said he was trying to get the mat back after he fell off it, but my gran says he definitely had the mat at the bottom. Either way, on his way up, he slipped, obviously it's a slide, and snapped his ankle. 8 weeks later, he was at the hospital getting his cast off. He was so excited by this, he jumped down the hospital stairs and re-broke his ankle. They had to turn around and go straight back in, and my gran made him explain to the doctor why he was back. We were on a family trip to the beach. Me, my brother, and my dad were exploring an estuary. I spotted a top-tier stick across a stream. I tested the bank with my foot, decided it was too slippy, told him it was too slippy, and moved on. My dad, wanting to be a good dad, decided he'd go and get it for me anyway. As soon as one foot left the bank, his other slipped under him, and all 6 feet of him disappeared. He did manage to climb out a bit further down and had to do a walk of shame across the beach to my mum. He ended up driving home naked with coats tied around his waist and a high-vis jacket. All of our neighbours saw him get out of the car and walk into the house. He works on the setup/running side of motorsport. He got his car stuck in a ditch while pulling another car out of the opposite ditch and proceeded to lie down in a chicane made of huge black bales to try and reach his towing eye without getting into the ditch, which leads to him getting run over by a van. He then proceeded to complete the event and drive 100 miles to our local A&D before getting it looked at because, and I quote, "I was only run over a little bit." He stapled his thumb to a sign with a staple gun. He put his thumb on the sign to hold it to the post and somehow managed to place the staple gun over his thumb and fire it without moving his thumb. In one day, he slammed his finger in 2 separate car doors. The first one broke it, the second broke it more, and then stapled his thumb to a sign again. Since the first incident, he'd been using his finger to hold them, but that was smashed, so he reverted back to his thumb. When he got back to the B&B, he realized he left his trainers outside all day in the rain and then left his boots in the same place overnight. Wow, that's so funny. They sound like a super fun person. Every day with them is an adventure. Kevin doesn't understand the basics or how to be a decent human. The standard "I'm on a mobile" apology. I'm also using a throwaway account for work reasons. So I've worked at a very well-known corporate video game store for several years, and I've run into my fair share of Kevins, always around the holidays because of the mass hiring. I thought I'd seen it all until this past holiday season. This Kevin really took the cake. He didn't quite understand how alphabetization worked. SH comes before SC and ST. This is normally something we have to teach to remind people, but this poor guy was still having issues when I left the store in July. He was hired in October. Didn't understand, no matter how many times we told him, that numbers come before letters when alphabetizing the games. Refused to offer pre-orders in a transaction because if the guest wants to pre-order a game, they'll let me know. What? Also refused to offer protection plans on games because everyone knows about our protection policy already. Yeah, that's not what that means. I caught him stuffing about 15 DS games, something that would take him less than 5 minutes to file, off to the side of a random drawer. When I asked him about it, his reply was that he would just file it in the morning, even though we still had about 45 minutes left before we closed, and he didn't have any other stuff to do besides file that small stack of games and sweep the store. He constantly would ring up the display case of game and finish the transaction without checking to see if the game was actually in stock or not. Or my favorite would be when he'd give them the display case without the game inside. I overheard him telling people wrong release dates or pre-order bonuses, and when I tried to correct him, he would tell me that I don't know as much about video games as him because I'm a female and I don't play actual video games. Are we on the neckbeard subreddit? Which leads me to my assistant manager overhearing him tell a regular customer of ours that because I don't prefer shooters or sport games, that I'm not even a real gamer. Like, damn, apparently Mario, Pokemon, and Mortal Kombat aren't real games. Thank you to my assistant for chewing him out over this. He would oversell pre-ordered copies of games. We had a set amount that were on hold for pre-orders, and we could sell the rest. He would sell the ones that were on hold once we ran out of extra copies. His reasoning? Oh, they weren't gonna pick it up anyway. Oh yeah, of course the gentleman who fully paid off the $120 deluxe copy of their game isn't gonna pick up the game that he talks about every time he comes in. Yeah, what are you talking about? out. He would constantly tell people the wrong return policy. New games have to be unopened and within 30 days. He would say 30 days for any reason. He would be corrected and then a few days later he'd tell others the same. Used games is 7 days for money back with proof of purchase. He would tell them that they had once again 30 days and that they didn't need to keep their receipt. His response, he didn't think they would actually come back. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Because of all of his Kevinisms, he couldn't be left alone for more than 5 minutes and essentially became just a warm body to work shifts that no one else was able to. The only reason he was still employed with the company after management witnessed these Kevinisms is because he was the only associate with open availability and we were extremely understaffed. My store leader is also the biggest pushover. When I told everyone I was moving across the country and switching stores, he asked me to recommend him as my replacement for key holder. I feel a bit bad because I did chuckle and I asked him if he was serious. Last I heard he was still employed but cut to 1 shift a week. Wow, that was so frustrating. Their reasoning behind stuff was so annoying. Like, yeah, why would you think somebody wasn't going to come in if they pre-ordered something? That doesn't even make any sense. My 18 male, girlfriend's 18 female, sister 14 female, is a female Kevin. Me and my girlfriend have been dating since 7th grade. We're currently in college together a few hundred miles away from where we're from. Because we've been together so long, we're very close to each other's families. I have 3 siblings, 21 male, 20 female, and 16 male. She has 5, 20 male, 16 female, 14 female, 13 male, and 12 male. We're from very affluent families in a very affluent suburb in the US. The schools in our area are amazing and we all had private tutoring and many other opportunities available to us as kids. My girlfriend's 14-year-old sister is a stereotype of a privileged blonde white girl, but way stupider. Here are some things about her. A bit more than a month ago, when me and my girlfriend were over for winter break, her brother, 13, came out of his room bowling. His sister had accidentally texted him saying that little F slur needed to shut the F up. She meant to text it to a group chat of her friends. The text was about a classmate that she found annoying, and we later found out she was teasing. The 13-year-old brother is openly gay. Their parents had a long talk with her and took away her phone to see what she was texting and found offensive messages on there. They've made her write an apology to the boy, her brother, and have made her learn about LGBT history. Obviously what she did was horrible, but out of all people to accidentally text, she texted her openly gay brother. A few months ago, her boyfriend asked if she wanted to go to Paris with them in front of my girlfriend's parents. She asked him what state that was in. He told her it was in France, not the US. She then asked how long the drive was. He had to explain to her that they were flying because there was an ocean between the US and France. When they got to France a few hours later, she'd FaceTime my girlfriend. She asked why certain places had weird words on their signs. My girlfriend was confused and asked her to show what she meant. The weird words were French. My girlfriend explained that to her, but then she asked, but people speak English here? She had an incredibly tough time understanding the concept of bilingualism. Her boyfriend is much smarter than her. He is currently taking French. He's also very into politics. He's actually very left-wing and was upset to hear about his girlfriend's bigotry. He'd bought some Maoist pamphlets in France, which his parents were not thrilled about. And on another FaceTime call, she said, Caden got books with a weird symbol on it. We asked her to show the book to me, and I explained to her it was a hammer and sickle symbol of communism and socialist countries. She then asked, like Japan? In 7th grade, she had her phone taken away after getting in trouble for bullying a boy in her class. She'd also had her allowance taken away for a month. She decided to steal her parents' checkbook and try to buy something at the mall for $200. She used the wrong spelling of two and wrote $200. When an employee told her to leave, she tried convincing her she was an adult who had height problems. Security had to get her to leave and her parents picked her up extremely upset. About a year ago when I was over at their house, the parents found a vape. They gathered all the kids together in their library and asked who it was. She said it was her 12-year-old brother's. He vehemently denied it. They have security cameras in every room of their house with the exception of the kids' bedrooms. All of the kids know this. The camera showed her with the vape going into their library. She later defended it being a good hiding spot because no one would expect it's me because she doesn't like to read. She decided to put a spoon and fork in the microwave to see what would happen. Luckily, her younger brother was there to see her and stopped her. This was 2 months ago. She's a freshman in high school. Speaking of school, since middle school, she's failed multiple classes a year, including core classes like math and science. She says school isn't important because I can just start a business. I was on a vacation with them to the UK right before the pandemic hit. The night after we got there, we were in the hotel and she asked, why do all the people here speak weird? We had to spend multiple hours explaining the concept of accents to her. Remember the Tide Pod challenge? Well, back in 2018, so she was 10 at the time, she decided to participate in it it and post it on Instagram. Oh my god, it just gets worse. She also decided to participate in the devious licks trend last year. She stole a hand sanitizer dispenser, and when it fell out of her backpack in one of her classes, she tried to blame it on a boy in her class. Despite the teacher seeing it fall out of her bag, she claimed that he planted it there. He's a good boy, so the teacher said that she'd check the cameras to see who stole it. She told her teacher, go ahead. And of course, the footage showed her taking the dispenser. She then said the video was deep faked. I was once talking to her about Elon Musk and his space travel, talking about how humans want to reach Mars eventually. She then asked, what about the sun? Well, like that Simpsons episode.
Wait, only that ship is going to Mars. Ours is headed for the sun.
Yeah, ain't that a kick in the teeth?
I was confused and I tried explaining to her that the sun would literally melt them if they got remotely close to it. She said, but the sun's only 90 degrees today. What? This is unbelievable. She thought the temperature of the sun is the temperature of the earth. She doesn't believe in sunscreen or sunglasses and refuses to wear them despite getting sunburnt frequently in the summer. How much audacity do you have to think that you know better than the sun? I was watching a Jimmy Kimmel skit where he asked Americans if they could identify an outline of the US as the US when it was flipped upside down. I printed out a picture of the US, flipped it upside down, and I asked her what country it was. She guessed Rome. I told her to try again and she guessed California. When I told her it was upside down, she turned it the right way up and then guessed Canada. I was speechless. I told her it was the US and she looked genuinely surprised. She's an anti-masker and has refused to wear one throughout the pandemic, saying that it makes you breathe toxic chemicals from your body. She also refuses to get vaccinated like the rest of her family is. She forgot her birthday on multiple years, acting surprised when people wished her a happy birthday and asking, it's my birthday. She, up until a few months ago, believed that everything in the 50s and before were in black and white because TV shows, movies, and photos from then are all black and white. She doesn't believe Helen Keller existed. A few years ago, one day she thought it'd be a good idea to do a backflip on the top of the stairs. She fell down and broke her leg. I can't believe what we're reading. When she got her first detention, she was in 6th grade, and for cursing out another student, she thought it'd be a good idea to eat the detention slip so she wouldn't have to go when she didn't show up. The next day she told the teacher she never got detention. The only reason we found out was because one of her friends admitted that she did it because he couldn't stop laughing at what she did. She then got a day of out of school suspension and her parents had to pick her up from the school. She burns herself when cooking constantly, never wears oven mitts when cooking. She's only allowed to cook when a parent is home because she's almost started a fire by leaving a plastic tray on a hot stove. She once tried killing a spider by hitting it with a glass cup and the glass shattered. In 7th grade, she tried cheating on a test by writing the answers on her arm. She was wearing a t-shirt, so her arms were showing that day. The answers were wrong anyways. She asked a boy who she had called gay for telling his best friend that he loved him in a platonic way for answers. He gave her answers that were very incorrect to anyone with common sense. Her teacher noticed the writing right away and gave her a 0. She said she trusted the boy since she knew him from detention. Good kid who's just a bit of a troublemaker, and he is really intelligent, but he's known to pull pranks and jokes all the time. She tried auditioning for her school's play. She was allowed to have her sheet music, but messed up because she couldn't pronounce the words of the song. She thought it was a good idea to only play with the karaoke. She'd been mispronouncing the words the whole time. She was talking to one of her boyfriend's lacrosse teammates. He was drinking water and she asked him if he knew who invented water. Oh my god! He was confused, trying to explain to her about H2O and the Big Bang. She was not getting it and asked who put the hydrogen and oxygen together. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. She, on more than one occasion, has confused Barack Obama with Osama bin Laden. When she was in 8th grade, she tried forging her mum's signature for a field trip. She misspelt her mum's name. The parents were not opposed to her going. She only forgot to ask her parents to sign the form. When she was 11, she thought it'd be a good idea to throw a rock at a bee's nest. Me and my girlfriend were with her. It's a miracle none of us got stung, but we had to run away fast. They went on a vacation to Vermont in December of 2021. She only packed t-shirts and shorts, and when they got to Vermont, they needed to buy pants and long sleeve shirts because she didn't know it'd be so cold. When she was in theater in middle school, she was messing around and fell off the stage a few times. Once she did it twice in the same day, and that's not even all of it. I just wanted to post some of the highlights. I don't know how she's made it this this long or how she'll function as an adult. She has been tested for disabilities by numerous psychologists, yet she never meets the criteria for any diagnosis. She's just plain stupid. I hope the business idea works out and that she finds someone to manage her finances, because I doubt she'll have the math skills to run a business. Okay, that was incredible. Like, did we just read this? When are we gonna fly to the sun? I'm in disbelief. That was so awesome. Kevin fell for his own trap. Back when I was in college, my freshman year, I shared a dorm with Kevin and a few others. One day, one of our roommates, we never figured out who, started to steal Kevin's food. As clueless as he was, Kevin was an amazing chef. After a while, the great idea came to Kevin to fill his sandwich with laxatives so the thief would be revealed and punished. He did just so. He made the most amazing sandwich filled with all types of meat, veggies, and more. The sandwich would make anyone that isn't vegan drool. There was one problem. He told everyone in the dorm about the plan, so the real thief wasn't gonna eat it. The next day, we hear groaning from the bathroom. It's Kevin. He said he'd eaten the sandwich because he was hungry, forgetting about the laxatives. He ended up not being able to attend my classes for the day, all because of the amount of laxatives he put in. I have a lot more stories about him. Let me know if you want to hear more. They're like, you know what? I'm super hungry, okay? Oh yeah, that's right. I filled it with laxatives. It's so funny that they told everybody as well. Like, hey guys, I'm giving away my plan. Continues to eat it himself. My ex-roommate was a 50-something-year-old man who was so dumb it was a miracle he wasn't in prison or something. Dude moved in right before COVID with me and the couple I was subleasing from, Daryl and Keisha. He and I were essential workers who primarily worked nights, so I thought bad sleep was why he was so dumb. No, he was just dumb. The fan in Kevin's room rattled at full speed. Kevin wanted to fix it. Daryl's an under-the-table handyman. He said he'd fix it on Monday. I got woken up by fan blades crashing into the floor at 5 a.m. Kevin said he tried to fix it himself because Daryl hadn't done it yet. It was Sunday. Kevin refused to clean his portable oven because he thought the heat did that naturally. The glass part of the door was so thick with grease you couldn't even see through it, and it also stunk. Over the past 3 years, Kevin bought a flat screen, MLM stuff, and $15,000 worth of artwork, despite having to bike an hour to and from work. We live in Florida. He considered me or Keisha offering him a ride charity and refused. Kevin asked me multiple times why I spent $11,000 on my Harley and motorcycle trailer. He then asked me why I ruined the bike by installing bafflers. I don't know Kevin because I'm not an a-hole. Kevin said multiple times that he wouldn't want to be with a woman if she just wanted to be with him because he had a car. This was after he asked to borrow my bike to impress a date who was coming in 5 minutes. He'd never driven a motorcycle before. He also wasn't wearing shoes because they were going to the beach. Kevin had a friend who blew a tire out. Kevin took Keisha's spare tire to help him out. Keisha drives a 2013 Genesis and his friend drove a Ram 1500. When he realized the tire wouldn't work, he called and asked if they could use my bike tire. No way. Kevin hadn't paid taxes in 9 or 10 years. He said it was what Thoreau would want. He was proud of the fact that he'd never voted in his life. Kevin tried to give away some of his artwork and stuff before he moved out. I sleep in men's boxes. Kevin left me used boxes, 2 pastel drawings of a vajayjay getting blanked and one that split up into a ding-dong. When I returned them, Kevin offered to paint over it. Kevin moved to the area with a 32-year-old girlfriend and her severely autistic 5-year-old son and 13-year-old daughter. They broke up immediately after. Kevin talked about how he had to stay in his life because he was the only father he'd ever known. They'd been together at most 13 months. He tried to get his ex to let him have daily calls with her son. Kevin sent the money, and after he got vaccinated, would go babysit on 3 hours of sleep. Kevin once lost the non-verbal, easily overstimulated kid in our single-story 950 square foot bare bones house. He was under my desk. I worked in a lab during COVID. He offered to pay me to stamp his vaccine card to show his ex so he wouldn't actually need to get it. He didn't understand the difference between a lab tech and a nurse. Kevin stopped talking to his ex when he got a new married girlfriend. He kept sending her money though. He was worried he'd never be able to build a relationship with her kids because she won't leave her husband until they're adults. They've since broken up. Kevin always wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail with his son. The last time Kevin saw his son was when he was 10. He thought his son would have reached out to him by now despite not speaking to him in over a decade. Kevin tried to get in touch with his son to ask if he'd like to come. It went incredibly poorly. Kevin unplugged the fridge to fix the flickering freezer light. I had roughly 2 months of frozen meat in there. Kevin said that I could eat his frozen pizzas for 2 months to make up for it, while knowing I'm severely lactose intolerant. Kevin thought women could choose to get pregnant. He was stoned when he said this. Kevin said he was sensitive to cats when he moved in. I asked him if he meant allergic. No, he was sensitive to them emotionally. My cat hates him. We live in a primarily black and Hispanic neighborhood. Kevin would shave his head and face completely bare once every 2 months months. One of our neighbors told him he looked like a skinhead. He thought that was a compliment because skinheads were tough. Kevin bought a fire pit for outside. He put it in the lanai and hung his clothes over it. Kevin ended up with burnt clothes. Keisha wanted to make him scrub the ceiling and sweep. Daryl did it himself because by that point he knew Kevin getting on a ladder meant that Kevin would break his neck. Kevin yelled at him over this. Kevin had health insurance with his job, but wouldn't go to see a doctor about his hemorrhoids because he thought it was gay. Kevin insisted on leaving his butt plugs on the bathroom sink to dry. He suggested Daryl and Keisha use one on their dog when he had really bad diarrhea. Okay, what? When the handle on the toilet broke, Kevin refused to reach into the water manually to pull the lever. He decided to use the communal kitchen tongs. We never would have found out if he didn't like to crap with the door open when he thought no one was awake. My room is right across from the bathroom. That was a fun sight to wake up to. Kevin also liked to go to the toilet in the shower. I started wearing flip-flops. Kevin was transphobic. Kevin accused me of being trans because I'm bi. Me liking both men and women meant that I wanted to have the genitalia of both genders. Keisha got a part-time job where he worked. His behavior there got him asked to leave both the job and the house. It was calling the police when his hours were cut at said job that broke the camel's back. Yeah, like the top comment says, how did these people survive to adulthood? Yeah, 100%. And that's definitely enough for today, I feel like. Let's read something wholesome. How can people say that cats don't have feelings? When my cat got deadly sick, she refused to eat a single thing. It had been days, but when I started crying, she ate just a little bit. And upon seeing how happy it made me, kept doing it whenever she could. Now, whenever I'm sad or crying, she finds wherever I am with a mouthful of food and eats the pieces one by one. Every time looking up at me, making sure I was watching her eat it all because she knew it made me happy. And it does make me happy. Oh, that's so cute. I didn't know cats could get even more adorable, but here we are. That's so beautiful. It's like Hava. What's Hava? Have a nice day. LMAO. Got 'em. Oh my god, tricking people into having a beautiful day. That's amazing. I'm very, very sick, but a neighbor just rode his bike down the street screaming, "We are not getting any more animals," while being chased by his 3 small children on their decreasingly smaller bikes, who kept on chanting, "Hamster, hamster, hamster." And I had to share. First of all, thank you for sharing. And yeah, that's bloody adorable. I hope they did get a hamster. I have a new client. That's good. It's Evie. You're adorable, mum. Oh no, but I just committed a serious breach of confidentiality. Oh no. You'll never be forgiven for this. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had a wonderful time. That was so fun, and it's always so fun on this subreddit. And if you enjoyed, you know what to do. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. And the comment of the day today goes to Just Pebbles. Hey Vincey, I just wanted to let you know that my 9-week-old kitten loves your videos, and for the last month I've had her, your videos are the only guaranteed way to get her to chill out with the zoomies. So thank you. That's so beautiful. It's an absolute honor that your kitten likes my videos. I'm so glad. Genuinely, this is amazing news. That's so awesome. Thank you for commenting this. You guys have pets and they watch my videos as well. So cute. Okay, I'm out of here. Thanks again for all the support. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!